Hello there guys, welcome to one of my videos. According to Sky Sports, Tottenham and Borussia Dortmund are leading the race to sign Dean Henderson if he leaves Manchester United this summer. Now, if Dean Henderson was to go to Borussia Dortmund, we could get Jadon Sancho as part of a swap deal, because we still want to sign Jadon Sancho in the summer transfer window. Recent narratives said that we paused our transfer pursuit of Jadon Sancho due to Mason Greenwood. Now, we have revealed our asking price for Dean Henderson. It's £40 million. He's obviously had talks with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Dean Henderson has threatened to quit Manchester United if he's not assured the number one role. Earlier on this season, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer admitted that it's becoming more and more difficult to leave Dean Henderson out of the side. Dean Henderson has done well in the games he's played in this season, and I think he's reliable enough to become our number one because he has got that experience behind him. He endured 2 successful loans with Sheffield United. Before the start of this season, he signed a 6-year contract with Manchester United, well, a 5-year contract with an option of a further year. Chelsea and West Ham, by the way, are also in for Dean Henderson. Solskjaer recently said that he's prepared to sell either De Gea or Dean Henderson in the summer transfer window. I think we should sell De Gea in the summer. I think we can get from between 50 to 60 million pounds. We are looking at Donnarumma from AC Milan as a possible replacement for De Gea. Paul Scholes came out recently and said that De Gea is becoming a real problem for Man United, and Solskjaer has already warned De Gea that his number one jersey is under threat. A few years ago, De Gea was regarded as the best goalkeeper in the world, but in the last couple of years he's made calamitous mistakes, and reflecting on that, he's become a liability. This is De Gea's 10th season at Manchester United, so he has been a long servant, and he's going to remain our number one for at least this season. He's made over 500 appearances for the club in all competitions. So that's the news on that. Now, according to The Athletic, Solskjaer has drawn up a 4-man centre-back shortlist. The names that are considered are Jules Koundé. He's our top target. Tyrone Mings from Aston Villa. Konate from RB Leipzig, and Milinkovic from Fiorentina. Now, we really do need a centre-half. We need someone to go alongside Harry Maguire in our back line. You've got Victor Lindelof. He's too much of a liability, and him and Maguire don't complement each other in our back line. You've got Eric Bailly. That goes well alongside Maguire in our back line, but Bay's too injury prone, so in that aspect he is a liability. Phil Jones, I'm expecting us to offload him this year. And Axel Tuanzebe, he doesn't get in our 11. So it'd be very, very good if we signed a centre-half in the summer transfer window. Now, I want to delve into some news on Paul Pogba. So, Mino Raiola denies destabilising Manchester United over Paul Pogba contract remarks. Mino Raiola says he didn't want to cause problems for Paul Pogba at Manchester United. Mino Raiola is desperate to get his client out of the football club in the summer. Mino Raiola has been criticised a lot, and he doesn't have a good relationship with Man United, and he recently admitted that he was working quietly on Paul Pogba's transfer to avoid offence. Don't forget, he did make an announcement back in December regarding Paul Pogba. He said that Paul Pogba's career at Man United is over. He said he's unhappy and he has to leave, and he's got no intentions of signing a new contract. Solskjaer was furious with Mino Raiola's announcement because it was just before the game against RB Leipzig in the Champions League. But yeah, Paul Pogba has had a long-running transfer saga. He's been linked with a move to Real Madrid. Juventus have been in for him and PSG have been in for him. Now, it's said not so long ago that we revealed our asking price for Paul Pogba. It's £100 million. Very, very sceptical we'll get £100 million. Pogba is out with a thigh injury at the moment. He is a big miss because you can say we do lack quality in that midfield without him. Solskjaer did confirm prior to the game against Real Sociedad in the Europa League first leg that Paul Pogba's going to be out for the rest of February, so I'm expecting him back in early March. Earlier on this season he had an ankle injury and he was out for the vast majority of last season with an ankle injury. Now, it said a few weeks ago that we'd held talks with Paul Pogba regarding his future, and Solskjaer suggested Paul Pogba could sign a new contract, and Solskjaer said he's happy at the club now. If we can't get a adequate replacement for Pogba in the summer, then I think he could sign a new contract. Earlier on this season, Paul Pogba's brother Matthias Pogba gave us an update on Paul Pogba's future, and he advised us to sell Paul Pogba in the summer if we are to get the money, because he said he's got no intentions of signing a new contract, and he said he could leave for nothing next year. There was narratives coming out back in January saying that Paul Pogba was considering making a U-turn at the club, and he contradicted his agent Mino Raiola for the second time. He is our most expensive signing at the moment because we paid £89 million for him. So there you go. This year's summer transfer window is the biggest in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's managerial career, because we do need to make signings. It recently said that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants 3 signings, and he's set to sit down with Ed Woodward to negotiate our business in the next couple of weeks. Now, a centre-back and a forward are the 2 priorities. There was narratives coming out a few weeks ago saying that we are prepared to smash our transfer record in the summer, and Woodward set to hand Ole Gunnar Solskjaer a huge war chest. The summer transfer window will be Solskjaer's 5th transfer window as permanent Man United manager. So far he's enjoyed 4 transfer windows as permanent Man United manager. And I don't think Solskjaer has been backed enough so far as Manchester United manager, because he hasn't got all the players that he wanted to recommend in as yet. You know, he has made good signings. He's spent over £200 million at the club. He's brought players like Dan James in, and Wan-Bissaka and Harry Maguire. You know, he's brought the likes of Bruno Fernandes in, Odion Ighalo. Ighalo's no longer here, but we did bring him in on loan in January of last year. Obviously, brought the likes of Donny van der Beek in, Alex Telles, Edison Cavani, Facundo Pellistri, and Amad Diallo Traore. So the board must back him in the summer transfer window, and Woodward's come out several times to show his support for Ole. And Woodward said towards the end of last year that he will back Solskjaer with a long-term plan centred around summer transfer windows. The board has been one of the biggest problems at the club for several years, reflecting now poor our recruitment policy's been. We've overpaid for players and none of the managers have been backed enough since the Ferguson era. Woodward's been at the club since 2012 and the Glazers have been at the football club since 2005. But Solskjaer recently confirmed that he's got the backing of the owners to recommend the players that he wants in. I said it was a disappointing January transfer window for us because we only saw one arrival, and that was Amad Diallo Traore. But Solskjaer did say a few times during the January transfer window that he wasn't expecting any signings. We was focusing a lot more on the outgoings in January rather than the incomings. Like I said, I'm expecting more players to leave Man United in the summer. You know, Juan Mata could leave, Pogba could leave, Matic could leave. Even Martial could be sold in the summer because he doesn't have a long-term future at Man United. You know, Martial's been out of form for the vast majority of this season. A lot of United fans are saying that we should sell Victor Lindelof in the summer. You know, I'm expecting Jones to leave this year. But to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's credit, he has got rid of a lot of the deadwood since he got recommended in. Now, you know the news on Erling Haaland. Sky Sports recently said that Borussia Dortmund will sell Erling Haaland for 78 million this summer. Mino, Raiola, his agent, has said that there's only 4 Premier League clubs that can afford Erling Haaland. We face a potential transfer battle for Haaland. I heard that Haaland was recently demanding a 70 million a year contract if he is to leave Borussia Dortmund. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer not so long ago made a new Erling Haaland transfer admission, and he opened up on the Erling Haaland relationship, and Solskjaer said he's still following Erling Haaland's progress. It would be good to see Solskjaer reunite with Erling Haaland. Solskjaer knows the player well. Solskjaer was the one that gave Erling Haaland his debut at just the age of 16 at Molde. Since Haaland's arrival at Dortmund, he has been a revelation. He's been at Dortmund over a year. Dortmund paid just £17 million for him. And he's got a contract with Dortmund till 2024. He does have a £68 million release clause, but that doesn't become active until next year. So yeah. I am Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in. I think he's made very, very good progress at Manchester United in the last year or so. You know, in recent months, we've seen performances improve. There's even been games where Solskjaer has got the best out of the team. I think in some games, Solskjaer showed tactical flexibility, which is good. There's been a lot of games though where he has been tactically naive, so his decision making has got to be good persistently, like I've already mentioned before. We've got a fantastic away record in the Premier League. We haven't lost away from home in the Premier League for over a year. We're unbeaten in our last 9 away games in all competitions. You know, Solskjaer has got us to the FA Cup quarter-finals. It's going to be a tough game against Leicester. He's got us to the last 16 of the Europa League. He got us to the EFL Cup semi-final this season, lost that to Man City 2-0. And Solskjaer did well last season in his first full season at the club. We went on the 19-game unbeaten run in all competitions. We was 14 unbeaten in the Premier League. You know, he got us qualification for the Champions League, got us third, and he guided us to 3 semi-finals. And, you know, we are second in the Premier League. Solskjaer must win a trophy as Manchester United manager to avoid the sack. You know, we haven't won a trophy since 2017. And a club of our stature need to be winning trophies. And, you know, like I've said, the FA Cup is a chance of a trophy. And the Europa League is a chance of a trophy. I've totally disregarded the title. I think the vast majority of Man United fans have disregarded the title. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did say after our 3-1 win against Newcastle that we are still in the title race despite the 10-point gap. You know, he said the exact same thing after the 1-1 draw with West Brom. He said, you know, we are still in the title race and will not settle for second in this title race. I can assure Man City are going to win the title. You know, we haven't won the Premier League since 2013. But for us to win the Premier League, like I said, we need to make more signings. You know, got to get the right calibre players in. We've got to start beating the big teams as well because in the Premier League, because we have struggled against the top 6 sides in the Premier League this season. And people say you've got to beat the top 6 sides, or at least some of the top 6 sides, if you are to be genuine title contenders. Obviously, we've enjoyed bad periods under Ole, and you can say he was lucky not to be sacked. Prior to the Newcastle game, you know, was in a bit of a bad vein of form. We'd only won one of our last 5 in the league. You know, was poor at the first part of this season. Was poor at the first part of last season because we enjoyed our worst start to a Premier League season for 30 years. You know, a lot of managers obviously go through bad periods. You know, Jurgen Klopp's been going through a bad period at Liverpool. I don't know if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is the long-term manager for Man United. You know, time will tell. But I still think he's going to be given at least another season at the football club. That will be his 3rd full season. This is his 2nd full season at the moment. If we can, you know, finish in the top 4, top 3 this season, and we can win a trophy, I think that would represent a very, very good season for Man United. Then that will give us something to build on going on into next season. I think Solskjaer should sign a new contract at the end of the season. There was recent narrative saying that Solskjaer's future is in doubt because he admitted that no one spoke to him over a new contract. Said a few weeks ago we will wait until the end of the season to begin contract talks with Solskjaer, and he says we could offer him a new 2-year deal on one condition, and that's if we qualify for the Champions League. Solskjaer's into the final 18 months of his current contract. But yeah, like I said, top 4 is our aim, and I can almost assure that we are going to finish in the top 4. It would be a disaster if we finished out of the top 4 this season. You know, we appointed Solskjaer in December 2018 to replace Mourinho. You know, in his first 3 months at the club, he was the interim manager. Did very, very well as the interim manager, won 14 games out of 19 in all competitions. So This is the main reason why the club decided to give him the job permanently back in March 2019. A lot of United fans did say, we did give Solskjaer the job too soon. But yeah, he has been Man United manager now over 2 years. He's gained managerial experience, reflecting now on his being with us and that. Obviously, before he was with us, he was at Mulder. He won a few Norwegian titles at Mulder, and before he was at Mulder, he was at Cardiff, and his record at Cardiff was absolutely disastrous. So he hasn't got that proven pedigree as a manager. But it's just good that we've had periods under Ollie where we've seen consistency, because we didn't see consistency for a long time. And you've probably got to say that Solskjaer is the best manager since Ferguson. I can assure you, he was certainly a much better manager than David Moyes was. Like I said, we haven't been the same team since Ferguson. And no one's going to replicate what Ferguson did at the club. Ollie's our 4th permanent manager since Ferguson. Moyes, Van Gaal and Mourinho are the managers that have been sacked since Ferguson, and we're not even really known as a sacking football club. But anyway, we've got players that are really improving at Manchester United. Like I've said, Dean Henderson has done well in the games he's played in this season. And Wan-Bissaka's improved this season. There has been games where he's got forward well, he's got into good positions, he's put good crosses into the box, and defensively, Wan-Bissaka's always been superb. This is Wan-Bissaka's 2nd full season at Man United. We got Wan-Bissaka in a deal worth £50 million from Palace in the summer of 2019. You've got a Luke Shaw that's really improving. He's creating chances for his teammates, he's putting dangerous balls into the box, he's getting forward well, he's making good overlapping runs, and defensively he's doing quite well, Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw still remains our first choice left back, despite the arrival of Alex Telles last summer. Luke Shaw gets forward better than Telles. Luke Shaw's had a good career at Man United, apart from his injuries. He's been at the club now over 6 years. In regards to Alex Telles, he hasn't played nowhere near as much as I expected. At one point he did have COVID, but when we got Telles in, I expected him to be our first choice left back. He's done well in some of the games he's been involved in, Telles. We got Telles in a deal worth £15.4 million. I think Eric Bailly's done well in the games he's played in this season for Man United. He's made good interceptions, he's showed the ability to play out from the back, he's been very effective in the air. I certainly prefer him to Lindelof, but like I said earlier on in the video, Bay's too injury prone. Harry Maguire, he's had some good games this season, but he's also enjoyed bad games. Harry Maguire wasn't worth the £80 million that we got him for. He's the most expensive centre-half in the world at the moment, and the 2nd most expensive sign at the club. We've got the best out of Paul Pogba in recent months. Paul Pogba's been enjoying the best period in his Man United career. This is before he got this thigh injury. You've got Fred that's really improving. He's showing good attacking intent. His passing's getting better. He's breaking up the play well. Fred's made over 100 appearances for the club in all competitions. We got Fred in a deal worth £52 million from Shakhtar Donetsk, and I've got to say, Fred was a world-class player during his time in Ukraine. Scott McTominay, I think he's done well in some games this season. He's really improving, McTominay. McTominay has been part of the club for several years. McTominay has recently been out with a knock. Just after the first lockdown, McTominay signed a 5-year contract with Man United, so he committed his future with the club. Yeah, Donny van de Beek, he's a very good player when he plays. He's played nowhere near as much as I expected. Most of Donny van de Beek's appearances have come from the bench. He's only started 2 games in the league this season. Solskjaer made an admission earlier on this season saying that obviously Van der Beek is unhappy at the club with his lack of game time, but he's actually promised Donny Van der Beek more game time at Man United. He needs to play him more because he is a good player. You know, Van der Beek can play in 3 different roles. You know, Ajax was predominantly a box-to-box midfielder, I think. We got Van der Beek in a deal worth £40 million. We paid £35 million up front and there was £5 million in add-ons, and Van der Beek's got a contract with the club until 2025. Bruno Fernandes, you know, I think he's an exceptional player. He's made the difference in the team, and he's the best signing we've made since the Sir Alex Ferguson era. In most of Bruno Fernandes' games, he's been very, very consistent, but there's also been a few games where he has looked off the pace, and I do believe at some point Bruno Fernandes needs a rest, but he said earlier on this season he denies that he needs a rest because he wants to help the club win trophies. Fernandes has won Player of the Month quite a few times, reflecting on his good performances. He said on his 12-month anniversary that he's planning on spending many years at Manchester United. He said earlier on this season that we were 3 months into contract talks with Fernandes. Fernandes' current contract expires in 2025. There's also an option to extend for a further 12 months. We initially paid £47 million for Fernandes back in January of last year, but the overall cost is just over £67 million with the add-ons. Mason Greenwood, I think he's done very, very well since he broke into our first team squad. He made his senior debut in 2019, Mason Greenwood, and he's been at the club since the age of 7. He's made 80-odd first team appearances now, and Greenwood's done well recently despite not scoring. You know, Ollie's been defending Greenwood a lot this season. I didn't really have much of a perception on him earlier on this season, Greenwood, because he was out with injury at one point. One point he had personal issues, and at one point he had illness. He recently signed a new 4-year contract at Manchester United. That keeps him at the club until June 2025. There's an option to extend for a further year. Deserves a new contract though, reflecting on his good performances. Most of the time Greenwood plays on that right hand side. Marcus Rashford, I've been very impressed with him. He's enjoyed his bad periods as Rashford, obviously. You know, when Rashford's poor, he seems to get in front of goal. His decision making then seems to be poor. His finishing's then poor, and his passing's then poor. But when he's doing well, and we're getting the best out of him, he gets good runs in behind, he creates chances, some of his link-up play is good, and he scores good goals. We need to keep Marcus Rashford out on the left, because that's where he's more effective. He's much better on the left than he is on the right, but in general he's much better out wide, in my opinion, than he is centrally. Rashford's been part of the club for several years. Edison Cavani, like I said, he's made a fantastic impact since he's come in. Edison Cavani's hold-up play is good. His movement in and out of the box is good. He creates chances and he scores goals. Cavani's missed our last 2 games because he's been out with a muscle injury. Now, Solskjaer recently said that Edison Cavani is set for contract extension talks, because Edison Cavani wants to stay at Man United for next season. So I presume we'll trigger that 1-year extension on his contract. He's into the final 4 months of his current contract. We got Cavani on a free transfer last summer, didn't we? Signed a 1-year contract with Man United with an option of a 2nd year. So there you go. And I do like the way that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has promoted the youth, like I've mentioned before, because he's give a lot of young players their chances and he's recommended more young players into the club. You know, it was good to see a Mad Diallo Traore make his first team debut in the 4-0 win against Real Sociedad in the first leg. I said he's going to be a good asset for the first team because he'd been doing very well for the under-23s. Shortlist, he recently made his first team debut. He came on in the 3-1 win against Newcastle. Solskjaer's been asked if the duo are going to start on Thursday against Sociedad in the second leg, and he said probably not, but they're going to be part of the squad, which is good. By the way, what Solskjaer be doing his press conference today for the game against Real Sociedad. Anyway, guys, that's everything to update with today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon.